Hey-o!
Zach's, hey, yo. What's up, everybody? Happy KOTG Tuesday. Hi, everyone.
Ooh, I like the hat, Nate.
We are back.
We got a few different cameras going on here.
Yeah.
Camera.
I got one of them. I might have to put it on.
Yeah, find it.
I feel like most of us are wearing like a light colored shirt too. What's up with that?
I noticed that too.
We either go really dark or a little really light. So
I had to wear this new one I just got from Simple Lawn Solutions.
Man, I like that. That is cool.
I know, like I wasn't expecting it either. Actually, I'd worn that my Simple Lawn hat. I'd worn it during like several working days of renovation when it was like 90 degrees and it was just completely dirty and soaked, and they actually messaged me and said like, hey, I think you need a replacement. And I'm like, yeah, I could probably use one. They have a working hat and like a date hat. And then so they sent me a couple hats with this t-shirt and a koozie and everything. And I was like, all right, that's sweet.
Dang,
that's a pretty cool shirt.
What happens when you work in your hat, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So I was pretty pumped up. Thank you, Simple Lawn Solutions. I appreciate it. It's a sweet shirt. It's not, I don't know if it's Bush Light or not for sure, but I'm guessing it is.
I'm guessing
it's probably Bush Light.
Looks a little light.
Guys, we're well on the way. We're marching along.
I'm looking at your nips.
A minute into this, we got 60 people watching, so that's good.
Yeah, man. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Who was number one in the chat? Who was it? I'm trying to.
I saw LTZ. I already called
LTZ. There he is.
I'm curious.
Alex Carney shortly behind.
How is Alex and LTZ always like number one and number two? Like, I don't get it. Like
they're sitting always there waiting.
Refresh.
They're just hitting refresh.
But it's not only the first one in. They're making a comment, so they're in and commenting. Boom, right away.
Yeah. And commenting.
They must have good internet or something. Maybe they're plugged into the wall. They're not using Wi-Fi or something. They're just quicker.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It must have inside
LAN cable.
Mysteries.
Whoever's closest to Zach. That's what it is.
Hey, I saw a first-time viewer in here. Let me see if I can find Bobby Pennington is a first-time listener from Missouri. So,
welcome back to Missouri.
There's actually a lot of new names in the chat that I haven't seen, so that's awesome. That's very
welcome, everybody.
Yeah, glad to have you guys here, especially for a live show. Get in the live chat, ask some questions, get some answers. That's what we're all about.
Well, let's get into it, fellas. What is this? Episode 86? Man.
86.
Welcome. Keep off the grass. Let's all grab a glass and keep off the grass. I got Diet Coke tonight. I'm going to the gym in the morning, so I'm not having any booze this evening. Trying to get my back in shape for all this shoveling I got coming up.
Might as well drink a beer if you're going to drink a Coke.
Bill's gonna be deadlifting, trying to get ready for snow shoveling season.
Hey, and since we're talking about episode 86, let's go ahead and open up the can a little bit to tell everybody we're going to plan something big for our 100th episode. Yes, that's in 14 weeks-ish time. So we're starting the planning process now, which is unusual for us. We're gonna start planning the 100th episode now to make it a big deal. So everybody plan for that.
Yeah, we should reach out to
we can't wing it.
If you guys have any suggestions for the 100th episode, something big, let's hear them too.
We should make it like a 2-hour bonanza, something like that.
Let's drinking contest or something. I don't know.
We're all gonna meet it. We're gonna meet at Olee's house, get a keg. That's what we're gonna do for the 100th.
There you
go. Don't tempt me.
Just don't show up in Speedos and you're welcome.
If we follow schedule, it would be like the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
So, that could be a Christmas present if we all showed up in our Speedos,
That would not be a Christmas present.
Onesies.
We might have to push it back and not follow the schedule.
Yeah. You think we could get like KOTG Christmas Christmas jammies, like how the wife always picks out those, Papa Bear, Mama Bear jammies, What if we just all had KOTG ones and stuff?
Well, I bet we could do that because you got all those different companies, right? You got this, like I got my wife the socks with my face on them. Like you got that
Yes.
place. You got the Me Undies place.
Yes.
Don't they do like, custom ones? We could probably find one that does like adult onesies, and we could just do KOTG logos all over them.
We could get that before
Nice.
GIE.
No.
It's gonna be walking over to the Walker booth.
No, what's gonna happen is,
Beer
we'll all
stuffed
do
in
it.
them.
We're all gonna do it. Trust me. And I show up in that sucker, and you guys aren't. I'm like,
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, sure, Nate. Sure.
that'd be fun.
All right,
All
back on track, fellas.
Back on track. All right, so Olee, we'll let you talk about this. Who do we have tonight? Who is our guest? You got a gentleman at the table with you in person. This is our first in-person guest.
Yeah. It's finally getting to use both microphones. Pretty wicked. This place has got wires running everywhere. But Bruce Jump from WinField United Pro, and it may be just considered WinField, but anyway, Bruce Jump, he is their seed guy. He is super knowledgeable. I mean, I guess you could say eats, breathes, and lives grass seed. So I've been speaking with him for, I don't know, possibly close to a year.
Yeah, probably.
And I have learned a ton more than I've ever imagined about grass seed and making decisions on cultivars and how to read a tag and how to make a decision instead of, this is the best grass seed. No, there's a lot more to it. There's cultivars, there's research, there's testing. And I mean, he's taught me a ton. So I'm gonna let him take off. I'm gonna go find a Corona. I'll be right back. I got pants on.
Good man.
Well, welcome. Tell us a little bit about Bruce. Tell us a little bit about like your background and kind of what is WinField Pro and what do you do and all that fun stuff.
Hey, I really appreciate this. And Olee, thank you so much for the invite. I'm just looking around here. I am sitting live in the Fescue Freaks studio in Salisbury, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And this is impressive.
Yeah.
We got microphones. We got real control boards. We got a camera. I mean, this is the real deal, Olee.
Bruce, I dare you just start hitting buttons on that soundboard, see what happens.
I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to touch anything. Oh, I really appreciate the invite. This guy and all of the leadership team that we've been talking to prior to the start have just built a tremendous community. And I've been jumping in from time to time, posting on turf seed varieties, answering questions. And the questions are great. The level of knowledge I am so impressed with. The enthusiasm is off the charts. So anyway, thank you. Real briefly, then we'll get right to the topic. They wanted me to talk about my background. Who am I and why am I here? I ended up getting a horticulture science degree, master's degree from Purdue. As an undergrad, I just kind of bounced around, wasn't sure what I wanted to do, applied to different grad schools, turned down. Purdue accepted me. So I said, great, I'll go down there. And I was working on the potato breeding project. They were breeding potatoes at the time. This is back in the 70s, guys and gals. This is back in the 70s. So this was at the early start of genetic modified products. So my job was to take potato tubers, blend them all up in a blender, plate single cells of potatoes on Petri dishes, and figure out ways to grow a complete potato plant from a single cell. We were doing this in a laboratory in the basement of the Purdue Horticulture building. We had a series of growth chambers. They had this hum when I was making my lab notes. This was even before laptops. When I was making my lab notes, the hum just kept putting me to sleep. And I knew this did not have a future. It had a future for somebody, but it did not have a future for me. Got out, got into sales. 1984, I was first in agricultural sales. And then I was wanting to get back into horticulture in some way. I went to a distributor in Fort Wayne, Indiana, thinking if they have a lot of turf grass products and horticulture products, they might need somebody to sell them. And I walked in was a metal can of Trimec herbicide. Right, and it said Gordon Chemical Company on the can. I turned it around. It had a toll-free number, 1-800-821-7925. I called that number, asked for the national sales manager. They flew me out to Kansas City and I had a job within a week. So I am a PBI Gordon alumni. I was there when Fairmec first came out, Trimec esters, the Super all of those kind of products. So I ended up then going to a cooperative in Indiana. I was a turf grass guy, loved the job, just loved it. I covered 3 states helping cooperatives sell seed, fertilizer, chemicals, pesticides for lawn care, all kinds of specialty crops. Loved the job. I was minding my own business, Olee, in 1999. I'm minding my own business. And the world's largest butter and cheese company spends several $billions to buy the complete assets of the Country Mart cooperatives. And that's how I got to work for the world's largest butter and cheese company. The world's largest butter and cheese company has a division called WinField. That's the agricultural division for Land O'Lakes.
So wait, hold on.
Yes.
Who is the world's largest butter and cheese company?
Land O'Lakes.
So that is
it?
Land O'Lakes out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. If you combine
make
all
good
the
butter.
assets, yes. We got test kitchens in there. We do butter research.
I got some in the refrigerator.
We got test kitchens. We watch people use, we do research on this stuff, guys. We watch people bake cookies with butter and figure out how to make the process simpler. But that's Land O'Lakes. WinField is the agricultural division of Land O'Lakes. Win in the field, that's the agricultural division. And WinField Professional Products, the business unit I'm in, is part of WinField, part of Land O'Lakes. So we're a small business unit. We've got, 200 employees. I'm our turf grass product manager, all things turf. That's me. So that's my background. And I just met Olee here a year ago?
Yes,
We've
sir.
been talking and okay, are my slides up?
Not
No,
anymore.
sir.
They were.
Not anymore. Okay, let me get back here. Olee showed me how to do this right prior to, let me get right here. There we return to meeting.
Yeah, now ready.
Right here, share screen.
If I show you
So-
something, that's impressive.
So Olee said you're like a grass seed maestro, expert in
Okay.
all things grass seed. How
Yes.
long have you been doing that grass seed with WinField specifically?
With WinField specifically, since about 2009, 2010, with Land O'Lakes since about 1999, 2000.
Yeah.
I sold my first bag of grass seed professionally would have been 1987. So I go back a ways.
Okay. That's
A lot of changes has happened.
yeah.
So tonight, and Olee tells me there's a number of people in the chat room. I think we're taking questions. If you have a
Yeah,
question, you can chat them in. This is all things seed tags tonight. I'm going to go through seed tags. I'm going to use Artemis as an example. We're going to talk about everything on the seed tag, what it means, what it doesn't mean. We're going to talk about why we even have a seed tag. And then I'm going to get into some gravity PGS. If we have time, we'll see how the time goes, but I've got some of my Turf Tech charts, the ones I've used to rank and score turf grass varieties using National Turf Grass Evaluation Program data and my patented Turf Tech tool that I built with the algorithms. So yeah, so we're gonna have a good time. And I hope you guys
You heard that
get
live
some
chat?
great
We're gonna have some algorithms tonight. This is awesome. I'm excited.
That's Bill's topic right there.
Okay, so let me get this thing up here on there we go. Okay, does everybody see an Artemis tag?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, let me start off. Why does seed, if you sell seed in the United States, actually in the world, you gotta have a tag on it? Where'd that ever come from? Why do we do that?
Like a
Everything's got a
certification.
tag.
Sometime this afternoon, I was flipping through one of the social media posts and I came across that famous quote by Forrest Gump. Life was like a box of chocolates. Sometimes you never know what you're going to get. That's the way seed was back in the late 1800s to the early 1900s. You're a farmer and you're going to buy forage seed for your animals. You go to your farm dealer, you'd take his best seed. He would tell you what's in it. You would go out and plant it and it wouldn't look anything like what was in it. People just put all kinds of stuff in it. There was no law, no regulate, no nothing. It was like the Wild West for turf seed or for forage seed. Forage was a lot more popular back then. Lawns never really came about in a big way until after the greatest generation GIs came back from Europe and Japan after World War II, had a bunch of kids, which is the baby boomer generation. That's me. And then we began living in the suburbs and the whole lawn care industry just exploded and took off. So back then it was really more forage seed. So I didn't have a chance to look this up. Maybe somebody in chat could look this up. I think it was 1935, 1936. The federal seed law was passed. And there were requirements. If you wanted to sell seed, there were requirements that you had to meet. And that's what's on these tags today. The tags were, and this is important when it comes to things like crop seed on the tag, these were set up for crops. Agriculture was huge. Turf grass was kind of minor. Yes, there were golf courses then, but it was kind of a minor business. But it was mainly set up for crop seed. So the federal seed law was passed. And now anybody who sells seed in the US has to abide by the seed law. Well, what if you don't? Well, if you don't, there are federal laws that if you don't abide by these seed laws, like you want to lie, cheat, and steal in the seed business, you're going to go to jail. And that's happened in the last couple of years. One big example that if you lie, cheat, and steal on a seed tag, you're going to jail. One quick story. I met a great teacher, educator, Dr. Don Renchie of Texas A&M University. He is their pesticide laws and regulations trainer. Our company, WinField, hired him. This was years ago, Olee. Hired him to do laws and regulation training, a lot of for recertification for pesticide licenses, but he would get into fertilizer and grass seed tag laws. There were probably 500 people in the room. He had everybody stand up. And I don't know if you can see me on Facebook, but he said, everybody put your hands forward right now. Put your hands forward and grab your fist like this. And then he said, hold your fist back to your face like this. And he said, if you don't pay attention and listen to what I'm telling you and teaching you about laws and regulations, these are going to be the jail bars you're going to be holding and you're going to be in jail. I never forgot that. I never forgot that one time. That is a great teacher. So if I'm going to work with a prison and sell seed and consult with seed on grounds, I'd rather do it from the outside rather than the inside, Bill. I really would. So we're going to follow the seed laws and we're going to go through what you have to be legal on a seed tag. So on Artemis.
You got to go back. I messed you up.
So, hey, one thing I noticed is it has a turf grass performance on it.
Yep. That was a great question right there.
Yeah, let me get
I messed him up. Y'all had to see him getting through the bars of jail. So
Yeah, if
just click the black over and see. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Return.
Yep, then more. But this is a
And
good
more,
question right
okay.
here.
And let me get to my
you could
slide.
send it to me and I could flip through it. I mean, if that's possible, but
Okay, are we back on?
Yep.
Okay, here we are. First question, turf performance index score. That score is how I'm ranking turf seed blends. So that 79.1 is a turf index score based on my rankings. So we put it on there just to let you know, this has been rated. Every one of these seeds has been independently tested by the National Turfgrass Evaluation Program. That's a big deal because so many seeds are not, and it's impossible to tell how the performance of those seeds are going to be. Are they resistant to gray leaf spot and brown patch or not? Unless they've been independently tested, it's impossible to know. So this is the ranking, and I've been posting a lot of my Turf Tech charts in the group. That's a ranking for those 4 varieties in that blend. So that's what that is. So let's go through this. What has to be on a seed tag? What does it mean?
Is that performance score something that you guys do as WinField Pro, or is that going to be present on all labels? I don't know if I've noticed that before.
Yeah, that's going to be something on all of the labels that we sell. So everyone's going to have a turf index score. There may be a few custom mix type products we would sell that might be for a city bid, or it might be for something that this wasn't important. But for all of our standard seed mixes, everyone's going to be scored, because our customers need to know, are these seeds high performing? A seed tag, by the way, tells you nothing about performance. There's nothing on this seed tag except the turf performance index score that tells you anything about performance. You can learn about purity, or you can, the tag we'll talk about will tell you about purity. It'll tell you about germination. It'll tell you about crop weed, inert. It'll tell you all of those things, but that tells you nothing about, is this variety resistant to brown patch or gray leaf spot? And that's what people really are buying. So
if you want to make it bigger, click that little thing and make it bigger.
Where do I click?
Wish that all it took.
Here we go.
Full screen or something.
And then, then we can just roll through it. There you go.
There you go. Okay. What has to be on there? Lot number. We have a lot number. Every tag, every bag of seed has to have a lot number. The lot number, when farmers harvest their seeds, they have up to 22,000 pounds that can go into one lot, and they put these seeds into a lot. It's a big bulk sack of seed. It gets a lot number. That lot number is seed vendors like Mountain View, distributors like WinField are able to trace back, if we need to, where the seed came from, what fields they came from. It'll get back to all the specifics of a seed lot report. So it's a way to track seed. So every seed has to have a lot report so we can check it out. And we may need, if we have seed that we sold to a retail store and the due date's coming up, we may want to retest that seed and get new tags. So every seed has to have a lot number. Purity. Purity is on seed, is a attribute of seeds. Here we have pure seed. You'll see on the Avenger 3 variety of tall fescue, it's 25.01% pure. That is the percent by weight of Avenger 3 tall fescue. So in 100 pounds of seed, there'll be 25.01 pounds of Avenger 3. So purity is the percent by weight of the pure seed. There's other things in here you'll see, like inert matter, but we have to have purity. That's what purity is. And you'll see these things listed for each of the varieties. If there's one variety, you'll have 1% by weight of purity. We have 4. We have a 4-way blend of tall fescues. The variety name has to be on the seed tag. So we have our top variety names. We have Avenger 3, Spider 2 LS, Titanium GLS, and Dynamite GLS. I posted a lot of charts on these. They're all in the latest generation NTEP trials. The latest trial began in 2018. The latest data that has been published was last year in 2001. So we're typically a year behind on the data when they release the data. So this is the latest generation of tall fescues. You have to have the variety name and you have to have the species name. So you got a variety and a species. On variety names, be careful with things like the word common. Be careful with the letters VNS. VNS stands for variety not stated. A VNS seed, no one has any idea what the variety is. It could be something a seed vendor is cleaning out of their warehouse they want to get rid of. It could be anything, so be very cautious about buying anything called VNS seed. Be cautious about common seeds. Next up is germination. Germination is the percentage of seed that are viable and will germinate. So seed labs will take like 100 seeds. They'll put them in a warm, moist place with ideal, that's the key word, ideal growing conditions. If 90 seeds out of 100 germinate, and these take, depending on species, but for tall fescue, it's between 10 and 14 days, they'll give it. If 90 seeds out of 100 germinate, it'll get a score of 90%. And that's what germination means. Typically, this is for Mountain View and most seed companies, 90% is kind of like an industry standard. Seed vendors know. People like Dr. Greg Munshaw, the technical director for Mountain View, knows when millions of pounds of seed leaves Salem, Oregon, where Mountain View seed is, and it's stored under so many different conditions: hot, cold, wet, dry, moist. They're stored under so many different conditions. The seed germination, the actual germination typically is about 94 to about 98%. But they know over time it's going to drop a little bit. The last thing a seed company wants to do, if their germination percentage is 98 and they put 98 on the tag, and it happens to drop in 6 months down to 97, and the seed inspector from the USDA and the state comes by and takes a sample and tests it, and they're not up to specifications on the label, they would put a stop sale on a bag of seed that has a 97% germination. So seed companies don't want that to happen. 90%, 85% on some non-certified seeds has been kind of the standard, but most of the time, and this is true with Mountain View seed, when you see a germination percentage, that's the minimum germination, minimum viable percent of seed that will actually germinate. So typically it's going to be 4 to 6, 7 points higher than that. So that's a germination. This doesn't apply as much to turf seed, but it applies to a lot of native grasses and forbs, flowers. Sometimes you'll hear the term pure live seed or PLS. What does that mean? Pure live seed is the purity times the germination divided by 100. So if you take those two numbers, multiply them together, divide by 100, you'll get the percentage of pure live seed. And native crops, sometimes like big blue stem and little blue stem and those kind of native seeds, sometimes the germination might only be 40, 50, 60, 70%. So that's where pure live seed is a big deal. Most turf seed industry standards is about 90%. Origin. This is one of the reasons why origin is even published, because it typically comes from crops. Sometimes buying crops, farmers and seed enthusiasts and gardeners and seed companies would buy seeds from certain states because they had certain ecotypes, certain types that were more adapted to one state versus another. And in some seeds, that becomes a big deal. So you want to know where the origin, was it from, the Midwest or from the East Coast or the Northeast or South? Did it have more heat tolerance or something? That becomes a big deal. It's not in turf seed. Oregon is the Corvallis, Oregon, Olee. Lynn County, Oregon, I posted that the sign when I was out on Highway 5 out by Corvallis, Oregon. Lynn County, Oregon, the seed capital of the world. Most of the cool season grasses in the world originate in the Willamette Valley in Oregon. And the origin has to be put on the seed tag, just because I've had a few people ask me, not in this group, but a few people over the years, if my seed's grown in Oregon, will it grow in North Carolina or Indiana? Well, the answer is yes, it'll grow just fine. But the origin has to be on there. Okay, a couple of the big ones. Let's head down to other crops. Whoever is doing the highlighting is doing a great job. Whoever that is, thank you.
Anytime.
Other crop seed. What's that?
I said anytime.
Thank you.
That's Zach.
Okay, what is other crop seed? Well, this comes from the original federal seed laws being built around crops, farmers and crops. If you're planting a pasture for cattle or horses, and you're planting a perennial ryegrass pasture, having a little bit of annual ryegrass in a pasture is not that big of a deal. You know, might even be a little helpful. If you're planting a tall fescue pasture and you have a little bit of orchard grass in there, you know, cattle, animals eat orchard grass. So that's not a big deal. It's a huge deal. So that's why they separated weeds from crop. Crop could be used as another viable plant for livestock. So they put that in a separate category from weeds. In turf seed, crop seed is a big deal. I would love to hear in the chat room why, actually, from my perspective, crop is a bigger deal than weed seed. I would love to hear somebody in chat tell us why that is. And once Olee tells me if somebody's been doing that, I will be glad to comment on it. Crop
Easier to
seed's a bigger
kill.
deal. Pardon me?
Easier to kill. Weeds versus other crop.
Yeah. So, you know, I will show a tag. I went to Lowe's over here in Salisbury before I came here, and took some photographs of seed tags, and you'll see curly dock as a noxious weed on one of the tags. Well, curly dock's a broadleaf weed. You know, there's a whole host of herbicides that can deal with the curly dock. You know, it's not a huge deal. But if you have a tall fescue lawn and you're buying tall fescue seed and you've got orchard grass contamination in that tall fescue seed, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to get a perennial grass out of a perennial turf grass plant?
You're either going to dig it up or you're going to get out with the Roundup.
You know, yeah, the options are limited,
Mhm.
aren't they? So
There's
that's
there's no selected herbicide.
No,
There's no
there
easy
isn't.
way.
there isn't, you know.
So would that be the noxious weed seed, or is that just the weed seed
Crop.
component?
Crop.
Would be
So this one here we're talking about is a crop bill. So
Okay.
orchard grass in a tall fescue bag, or annual ryegrass, or
POA.
POA, or some of these other seeds. POA would actually be either a weed or a noxious weed, but orchard grass is a great example. Perennial ryegrass is a great example. If those show up in the seed test in a tall fescue bag of seed, those are going to be put in the other crop category because they can be used as other crops and pastures. For us, they're a bad thing. And I'm going to have a slide on what some states, there's about 8 states in the Northeast that have gone to a UGS, undesirable grass seed label. UGS, UGS, undesirable grass seed. And they have a selection of weeds that seed companies, if they want to sell in their states, have to specifically list UGS on their label. I have a slide on that in just a second. So other crop seed is a big deal. There's tolerances for other crop seed. Here's one little fact I got from Mathis of Mountain View today. Let me ask you, Olee.
Mm-mm.
Can I ask you a question live on?
Do it. Put me on the spot.
What
Let's go.
percentage of seed? What percentage of seed? And I'm not just talking about Mountain View, but we checked with 2 or 3 vendors. What percentage of seed, and we're talking millions of pounds here, leaves Mountain View and 2 or 3 other seed companies in the Oregon Valley that is 0 crop and 0 weed? What percentage of seed would you say? They sell millions of pounds.
Mm-hmm.
What's your best guess?
Out of everything they do.
Turf grass, not forage, just turf grass. 0 crop, 0 weed. What percentage leaves Mountain View? And we checked with a couple other seed companies.
I don't want to answer that.
That's interesting. Your non-answer is an interesting answer.
3%.
I checked. It's
I'm gonna
slightly.
say none of them.
Yes. What's that?
None of them, right? They all have at least some, right? You
Well,
said there's
this one-
variances, so it's
Well,
like
this one on the label, legally labeling, and we'll talk about sample size, Bill, in just a second. Less than 20, they thought it was more like about 10% of the total seed leaving these seed companies are labeled 0 crop, 0 weed. This is a rare thing. This is rare.
LTZ Lawn Care, my neighbor, he got it right. He said 10% in the chat.
Let's send him something.
Interesting. That's interesting. So when you see, like on Artemis, when you see zero crop and zero weed, you're looking at something very special. That's number one. Number two, finding lots. And Mountain View, I don't know what the total poundage is. I think they're hitting 60 to 80 million pounds. Sorry, Mathis, but maybe it's more, but I think they're fourth or fifth largest in the world now. That's a big company. 10% having 0-0, finding enough lots that have zero crop and zero weed, running it through cleaners to get that. This is something really special. I buy several million pounds of seed, and not all of my seeds 0-0. 0-1 is really, really good. I mean, we got professional turf seed users, golf and lawn care and sports would take that every single day if we got the right varieties for them and the right mix. So 0-0 is really special. It's not something we typically see. And it's not something we typically see in a more of a retail setting. I don't think I saw one package at Lowe's with 0-0 on it. Not one. So that's what crop seed is. If you have questions, hop on chat and I would love to hear from you.
We'll put that into context for me. So zero obviously is fantastic. And it sounds
Yes.
like, 90% of the seed out there is not zero. But
Correct.
you had said that 0.1% is also still pretty good.
Yeah.
At what point, we talking 1% or more? Is that the point where you would say, steer clear of this seed if you're going to get some at a big box store? Or
Yeah.
at what point would it be like, oof, gosh, stay away from that?
Love you, Bill, because this is my next slide. You got vision. You're like
Ooh,
right
nice.
there, right there. So
I see STD blue tag. What's that mean?
STD.
Don't
that.
get the STD blue tag on you.
Standard.
Watch your acronym.
Standard.
You got to watch your
there, pal.
the acronyms. Standard means standard blue tag.
STD.
You got to watch the screw.
That one comes in a rubber bag.
See, that's a nice catch. That's a nice catch. So standard.
Is
These
that
are
one double bagged?
It's double bagged. tiny little bags.
These come from the standard blue tag comes from the Oregon Seed Labs. These are their certification. By the way, certification means we're getting one step ahead, but I will go back to the Artemis tag. Certified seed, blue tag certified seed. What does that mean? That means inspectors from the state of Oregon have tracked that variety of seed from the farm to the seed vendor who's bagging that seed up, and he certifies that variety that's listed on the tag is true in that bag. That's what certified means. It doesn't mean it's zero weed or zero crop, or it doesn't even have any noxious weeds. It means it's certified that when a tag says Avenger 3 tall fescue, we can go back and check with the farmer on a particular field that a particular Oregon USDA inspector has been out at that field certifying that field is Avenger 3. So what you're getting is a certification from an authoritative source that those varieties are true. And if you lie, cheat, or steal on varieties, you're going to go to jail. And that happened just a couple of years ago. Not with WinField, with somebody else.
Not with WinField.
Look it up. You can look it up. So these are blue tag standards. Germ 80 on tall fescue. They vary by species. Germination 85%. Inert matter less than 2%. Crop seed less than 0.5. Weed less than 0.3. Noxious weed, and that's mainly Poa trivialis. Poa. The Poas, Poa annua or Poa triv, either one. They can have up to 27 seeds per pound. That would be blue tag specifications. WinField specifications, and I got this with Mountain View. These are minimums for WinField. 85% germination, inert or maximum on the inert. Inert 2%, crop 0.2, weed 0.05. I don't like 0.5. Gave ourselves a little bit of room in case we're short on seed, like we were last year. But I like 0.1, 0.2 at the most. We buy a lot of seed from Mountain View. Mathis works with us very closely. Noxious weeds 0. So those would be the be the standards for a WinField tag. We go far and above standards like we do on Artemis. Other crop is 0. We explain that. Inert matter. Well, let's go to weeds first. What's a weed seed? Weeds are defined typically by state. They could be grasses. They could be broadleaves. They are seeds that germinate in a bag of seed that are not crop and they're not pure seed. That would be a weed seed by definition. This Artemis has 0 in it. I'll talk about sample size. Bill, remind me to ask me about sample size if I get sidetracked.
Did you go back a screen, or did you mean to go back to the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Got a couple more things to cover. Inert matter. What is inert matter? If you have a 50-pound bag of grass seed like this one or anyone, if something in the grass seed does not grow, it is labeled as inert matter. It's something that does not grow. What could that be?
Husk.
That could be a seed hull. That could be a cracked seed. That could be a stem. That could be a little flower from the seed. Anything that does not grow. And in today's market, that could be a coating. That could be an inert coating. Lots of coated seed in the retail marketplace. Typically, I'll digress for 10 seconds. Just something for everybody online to think about. Typically, coatings per pound costs less than seed does per pound. Coatings, let me say that again, coatings typically costs less per pound than the actual seed costs per pound. Just think about that for just a minute. Why is so much seed coated?
It's cheaper to coat than it is to produce seed.
You know, thank you, Olee. And there is some really good research out of New Mexico where they do the NTEP trials at New Mexico. There's a couple of researchers out there that are world-class on testing seed coatings and seed treatments. Some of them work, some of them don't. Something to really think about when 50% of your bag of seed is some type of clay coating with some hydrophilic polymers that are supposed to hold water. Did you know, Olee, hydrophilic coatings, hygroscopic coatings that soak up water that are supposed to bring water to a seed? Shouldn't we know something? You're a diesel mechanic, right?
Yes, sir.
Shouldn't we know something about the water holding capacity of that coating? Is it super, super easy for that water to be released to the seed that it's coated on? Or is it super, super hygroscopic that it holds water and that seed that's inside the coating wouldn't get a drop?
Stays dry.
Wouldn't that be good to know? That's what researchers do. And that's why if I'm going to spend any money on a coating, I would not want to just look at a fancy marketing sheet like this stuff is super great. I would want to look at the actual research. Does this stuff actually work?
Hey, Bruce, aren't several states actually banning it now?
That's a great question. I don't know if they're actually banning it. I've been kind of following the research side here, Nate. Do you have any specifics on this? I know it has to be listed, and sometimes they're listing it not just under the inert, but they're actually listing it as a coating so consumers know what they're buying. But what have you found out?
I saw, I can't remember what I saw, so I don't have a ton of details on it, but I thought I saw it this morning where it was Turfmend. I don't know if you heard of them, but they work with Berenbrug, but they were going to stop using the yellow coated seed.
Yellow jacket?
The yellow jacket. They were going to stop using that in the future. And I thought they said something in regards to because several states are banning it or not allowing it or restrictions. I think it has to do with some restrictions with the coating itself. I don't have a lot of detail on it. I just remember, like I said, seeing something this morning as I was scrolling through. Didn't know if you had any more details on it.
I don't, but I want to put that on my notes and take a look at that. Got to base it on the research, guys. Got to base it on research. Without research, we're lost. And the incentives are too great when the cost of the coating per pound is less than the cost of the seed, there is powerful marketing incentives there, and we got to base it up on research. Got to do it.
So would you say that, like, you know, because when I'm walking down the aisle, you know, they'll have, holds up 50% more water or something, you know,
Yeah.
it sounds like there may be like the standard coating, or are there different kinds of coatings out there? Like, is Barrenbrook's coating, I know they said that it's got a little bit of nutrients in there with it. Is it different than what you would see from some place that advertises that it just retains water? Are we talking
Everybody
about two
has
different
their-
things, or have you
great
seen
question,
some
Bill.
where coatings are more beneficial than others?
You know, some, I mean, they, all different types. Zeba has been kind of a industry standard. It's a polymer-based coating, holds water. Then people will take Zeba and add nutrients. Then they'll add,
Okay.
you know, a surfactant, and then they'll add other things to kind of make it a proprietary one.
Yeah.
I love accentuating the positive. I do, when it's based on research. I love marketing when it's based on research. And it's not just, I mean, when someone says, hey, this coating absorbs 4 times more water. I mean, the 2 questions I would ask is 4 times more than what? And the second question I would ask is, that's all wonderful. Show me what the trial data is, show me the controls, and show me how that seed established under adverse conditions. That's what I want to see. You know, 4 times more water doesn't really mean a whole lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense, because you'd want to see, you know, does that extra water amount to improve germination or better
Yeah.
success? And that's kind of what
The whole point.
the folks from Barrenbrook were talking about with their seed, as far as they're looking at making ideal conditions where if you say you miss a day of watering, or you can't quite irrigate the way you want, or there's different situations where it may be beneficial. But if it's simply just retaining more water, show us how that actually results in something better. It's almost like, you know, you take this medicine to lower your blood pressure.
Yeah.
I don't care about your blood pressure. I care about preventing heart attack and stroke. You know, does this drug prevent that? You know, blood pressure is a secondary marker, just like water. Yeah, that makes sense. You want to see, does it actually perform?
That's the whole point. This is the reason why seed companies formed the National Turfgrass Evaluation Program, how they supported this, because now we have independent data. And we look at 10 state trials for brown patch on tall fescue. And we start looking at 132 varieties, and we're going to measure brown patch and, you know, lesions and rectangular purple spots and how much brown patch they have. If you got a variety that scored the top performing group in all 10, man, that's something. What if another variety only hit 5 out of 10 states? What if a variety didn't score in the top performing group for brown patch in 0 states? I don't think I would want to plant that in North Carolina, where we have hot, humid, sticky summers, Olee. You know, but we got to know this, and that's why I built the Turf Tech tool. I think I got bounced off.
Zach pulled it off.
Oh, Zach did. No problem.
That wasn't me.
Oh, what?
Well, we're blaming you.
I don't even know how to do that, honestly.
Sorry, Zach. Okay, so let me get back to presentation view here.
Remember to flick it.
Okay, back up here to the seed tag. So weed seeds, we covered that. Noxious weed seeds, those are the really bad ones. And their seed, there's a federal seed law, but the states regulate the seed tags. Certain states have certain weeds that are noxious, and if you want to sell in those states, you can't have any noxious weeds. Artemis has none. I don't buy any seed with noxious weed seeds. They're all 0. I showed you that on the other tag. The company who's selling the seed, WinField, that's our address. If it's treated, we treat ours, not, hey, by the way.
Yeah.
Olee, does anybody in chat want to answer what's the difference between a treatment and a coating? A seed coating versus a seed treatment.
Coating bad, treatment good.
Pardon me?
Coating bad, treatment good.
Hey, Bruce, somebody actually wants to know if Artemis is brown patch resistant.
Yes, it's highly brown patch resistant. Once I get through this and watch my time, Olee, we'll switch over to my spreadsheet, and I will show you the actual NTEP data that I built these algorithms on. Highly resistant and gray leaf spot both. So treated with a gravity PGS. If you want to sell in Texas, which we do, you got to have a Texas ID number. The net weight, 50 pounds. AMS 654, that is the seed packaging number that every seed company has to have. That is Mountain View's number, and that's why that's on there. And that pretty much covers, all varieties are GMO free. I asked Mathis why he put that on there. They're having some customers ask, so they decided to put it on there. You don't have to, it's not by seed law, but he put it on there because some customers were asking. We don't ask. So anyway, that's what that is. Any questions, up in chat and let me know. We covered the blue tag and the WinField tag. Rashawn Easley, thank you for posting this. I wanted to show you what this is a 25-pound bag of Artemis.
Which 25-pound bags are new this year?
Yeah, those are brand new. I got really seriously talking to Olee about this Artemis and coming up with a high-performing tall fescue blend. That was at the origin of Artemis.
How'd you name it?
Nice prepackaged WinField bags we've had for years. Olee was telling me, based on his research, there's a demand for 25-pounders. I didn't have time to get commercial bags made. They take months to do. So we wanted to come out as soon as we could. So we used an off-the-shelf polywoven 25-pound bag. I put the picture in because you'll see our bags will have 3 tags on them. You'll have the Artemis tag or the name of the grass seed tag, like our high performance blend or something. That's the middle tag. You'll see the blue certified tag, meaning this is certified by the state of Oregon. That's the blue tag. And then the tag that's folded, that is the Gravity PGS tag. So it's treated, so we have to have a tag because of the treatment. And Rashawn, thank you. You say you're a Jonathan Green guy. Thank you for giving Artemis a shot. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, everybody wants to know where the name Artemis come from.
Where the name Artemis come from? Yeah, I told Olee this at dinner. I came up with the name Artemis. I'm not patting myself on the back because my other names have been really bad. They really have. I'm
Give us
like
an
a data person. So I name stuff through a naming convention, and they are bad names and I need help. Rachel Mohorn is our marketing manager. She is our e-commerce manager. She wears many hats like I do. She's a marketing person. I've asked her to help me. I come up with names like GT, TF. GT stands for grass turf. TF stands for tall fescue. Who's going to know that? But just a few people. And then I come up with high performing tall fescue blend. Like, come on. So we have a marketing theme. We have a lot of companies do this. We have a marketing theme. We're in the grass, we're in the turf grass horticulture business. Okay. Our theme is earth, water, wind, fire.
It sounds like a song.
That sounds like a 70s song.
Sounds
I
like
think I know that. I think I know that.
I love
group.
that.
There's a cartoon in the 90s that had that with like little rings and stuff. What was that?
That's our marketing theme. So our products, like Aqua Sync
Captain
is
Planet.
a wetting agent, so that's about water. Artemis is the Greek goddess of the hunt and the moon. So that's about earth, seed, earth, Artemis. So I came up with a new spelling. We're in the process of getting it trademarked, and that's the story of Artemis.
I like it.
So that's Artemis. Okay. Some people have been asking about sod quality. Okay, you got blue tag quality. That's great. It's 0-0. That's great. It's all great. What about sod quality? You sell a high performance sod blend. What's that about? Sod quality goes above and beyond blue tag. That's so the issue here is mainly it has nothing to do with varieties. It has to do with purity and it has to do with crops and weeds. So in sod quality, crop and weed analysis shall be based on, and they give different species. These seed sample sizes are a big deal. They're different for different species. Why is that?
Seeds are different size.
Seeds are different sizes based on some research I did. You know, I learned something by coming on your podcast.
That's good.
Had to do some extra work. Ollie. So I didn't know this. The seed sample size, the standard at the Oregon certification labs is 25,000 seeds. 25,000 seeds they need. So if you know how many seeds are in a pound, you take that number divided by how many grams in a pound, 454.6. Divide that by 454.6, you got the number of seeds per gram. And then you need 25,000. And that'll tell you how many grams you will need to sample. In tall fescue, 50-gram sample for ryegrass and tall fescue. If you want sod quality, that is the purest of the purest, the zeroest of the zeroest, you're going to go up to a 50-gram sample. That's going to be 25,000 tall fescue seeds. And seed technologists, this is a real job, they hire seed technologists and they spend their time analyzing seed samples. They know every seed, they know every crop, they know every weed, they know everything about seeds, and they count these all day long. So they're going to use a 50-gram sample. What is the sample size for blue tag certified tall fescue? That's 5 grams. It's 5 grams. So when a blue tag certified tall fescue blend is tested, they're using 5 grams of seed. And if they don't find any crop or any weeds, that becomes 0-0. In a sod quality, they're using 50 grams. They got to take their time and go through a lot more seed. And if it comes up 0-0, only they're both 0-0, right?
Mhm.
But they're different gram sizes. So these are actually, forgive me for not thinking of a better word, these are statistical zeros. Meaning they found no crop or weed in those samples that met all the Oregon standards. That doesn't mean you might find one weed seed in a 50-pound bag, but the chances are low. And this is the cleanest possible seed you can buy in the world. So blue tag is at the high standard, sod quality would be at the highest standard. So maybe someone's asking, well, Bruce, why don't you have Artemis sod quality? We can't find enough lots of those high-performing new generation varieties that have 50-gram sample size 0-0. Mathis and I have been looking, and we can't find them. That's how rare this is. So when I come up with a sod quality blend, I'm going to be going to my Turf Tech chart on my tall fescues, and I'm going to be starting with the Mountain View varieties at number 1, titanium GL. Do you have any available? Yes or no? If it's yes, it's going in my bag. Yeah, I'll go to the second one, third one, fourth one, and then build my blend. So gram size matters for crop and weed. When you're buying zero, again, 10 to 10, less than 20, more likely 10% of all the seed leaving Mountain View Seeds and a couple other seed companies is 0-0 blue tag crop weed. It's rare. It's rare. Questions on that? Anything?
No, sir.
Okay.
Brian, you want to start up the chat as far as the wheel?
Yeah, let's do that real quick, Bruce, because it's going to take a minute. There's like 90-something people in here. So as you guys know, we did announce a giveaway with WinField United. They are gracious enough to give one of you lucky viewers a 25-pound bag of Artemis. We've been hearing how awesome that grass is. So I might have to log off here real quick and join in my anonymous name, so I might be eligible to win. But
yeah, sorry, nobody's won. I already won.
So a 25-pound bag of Artemis, and then a 25-pound bag of, did you say fertilizer, Olee?
Yes, sir. It'll be a 25-pound bag of starter. You will have your choice of WinField's 1052. I don't remember the last number. 1052 something.
Got to check.
But or you have your choice of Pro Pete 1111, which is also a great starter. So you'll have your choice of the two Now the WinField is a water soluble. It will have to be sprayed. If you don't have a way of spraying it, and you only have a push spreader, you'll go with the granular ProPete 1111.
All right. Now to
Sweet.
enter into the giveaway in the live chat, you need to type in Artemis.
And smash
So,
that like button too while you're
Hit
at
that
it.
like button. We're up to about 71 likes, which is pretty awesome already.
Yeah.
So hit that like button and then type in Artemis in the chat, and I'll take probably the next 30 minutes trying to type out everybody's name here. So here we go.
I'm glad you with us tonight, Brian. Thank you, sir.
And
Yeah.
we still have lawn of the week to get to too, a little bit later. So
Back to
Well,
you,
chat.
Bruce.
I mean, we could listen.
Yep.
Everybody's kind of doing this thing while they're putting the Artemis. They're typing Artemis.
there you go.
I say we go ahead and do lawn of the week real quick since
All
we're
right,
already
let's
on a
do it.
break
Let's do
from
it.
what Bruce is doing. And I think I was watching the chat earlier. I think that the lawn care community is on board.
Yeah, I saw him in the chat, and I think everybody's excited. about this one
What's
this week.
lawn of the week, guys?
Yeah,
What
what
do you
is it?
do?
Ooh.
How do you win?
All right. Lawn of the week, KOTG lawn of the week. Hashtag it when you're posting pictures or reels on Instagram. Show us what you got. If you're out there taking care of the grass, making your yard looking sexy. Doesn't have to be stripes. You could highlight that curb appeal, the flowers, the mulch beds, all the sexinesses, the tight edges. Use that hashtag, and then we scour the hashtag throughout the week, throwing pictures back and forth, and we pick a winner, the one that kind of stood out to us the most, and choose them for the next lawn of the week winner. And the winner will get their choice of a bag of ProPete or Fossil, whatever ratio they want. Gracious enough from John, ProPete, anything that's available on the Home Depot website, a 25-pound bag. If you're overseas, we'll get you some swag from John. Shipping fertilizer overseas is not something they're doing just yet. So I think I hit all the main points. Yeah.
Who is it?
So this week is Wesley is it Rogers?
WG.
Double,
Rogers,
doubles.
WG. Ooh.
Looking great.
It does
When
look
we
good.
asked the question in the chat earlier too, a lot of people said his name. That
Yep.
day for long.
Somebody-
So
Yep.
They're
The
like-
KOTG account asked what do we think about lawn of the week? And he had votes from the live chat. So that's cool.
an anonymous
Everybody's
decision between all of
everybody's
us.
on board with our choice this week.
Those are
I think
laser
that's
beams.
great. But that thing looks absolutely preposterous.
I was trying to see what he's mowing with. If you're still in the chat, let us know
Time-
what
it's
you're
a Time
mowing
Master.
with. Is it Time Master?
Yep.
Oh God, I need one of those. You guys, I'm so jelly.
I'm sure
They're
you
They're
can.
expensive now, man. They're like $1,600. Gotta keep an eye on that Facebook marketplace.
Inflation.
Sell the
Mhm.
battery powered one.
All Toro and get one.
Yeah, no shit. I
Oh,
think-
man.
think you know a few contacts.
That's a bit much.
No, that looks good.
Yeah, it
Looks
does.
really good.
Yeah, it's so nice. So nice,
Yeah.
bro.
Congrats.
I love it when like people don't have sidewalks or like curbs and you can just run it straight to the street. Like Zach, yours, it looks like it just literally runs straight to
Mhm.
the street. That's awesome.
Yeah, sometimes I gotta like sit there for a minute. It's kind of a busy road I'm on, so like I have to like
It is nice.
kind of just sit there on the mower, like looking like an
Wait.
idiot for a while till all the cars go
For
by,
cars
and
to
then I
go
turn
by.
around. But if I mow early in the morning, like on a weekend, yeah, I can just go turn around the road, come back.
Nate, do you know what kind of grass he's got?
No, I know he just overseeded. So I mean, it's basically I think
He's
it's a
still in the
fall-
chat.
It's a fall renovation. I'm not sure.
Yeah, let us
exactly.
know.
Let's see
Wes,
if
what are you working with there? What kind of grass is that?
I think he's. Let's see.
I don't know. Let's see.
School season for sure.
Bruce, what do you
somewhere in
think? What do you think based
Indiana.
on the picture? You got a assumption there on?
I would need a leaf blade, a ligule, an oracle, and give me a sheath, then I could help you out.
It
It's
is-
kind of tough to tell.
It is definitely cool season.
Oh yeah, I
There
think
we
that's
go.
probably a
I love that,
fescue
Olee.
bluegrass blend.
It's cool season turf.
You know what we gotta do soon, and
Mm.
since Brian's got a huge wheel, we don't gotta do it tonight. But we gotta spin for a guest soon. We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, we haven't done that in a minute.
Bluegrass and ryegrass.
Nice.
BRG and Kentucky bluegrass.
Looks good.
What cultivars now is the question.
Well, yeah. Yeah, this is the seed show with WinField. So
Gotta be a little more specific.
let's be a little more specific.
But
Well, hey, Bruce, what does your yard look like, my man?
Oh, that's a good question.
He's got a
Uh-oh.
condo on the
deal.
beach. Leave him alone.
Tell people, these are my research plots. Okay. So I have actually, I don't know if I told Olee this. I'm actually building a botanical garden.
A what?
Yeah, you did.
Right.
You did.
Show you a few pictures. So I got actually 2 houses right side by side. My kids and grandkids live in what was my house. Now I live in the little house. So I'm in the little house. I probably, my total square footage on turf grass would be 1,000, maybe 1,500 square feet. But I'm building a botanical garden out of oak containers. So got a lot of gardening going on,
That's awesome.
I probably got 1,500 square feet. What was there? I have renovated the lawn twice, just so you know. Was tall fescue, needs done again. So right now I'm working on the botanical garden, then I'll finish up with the turf grass. So
Awesome.
that's my story. We're back on share screen.
Yeah.
Uh,
We're still doing the,
No, they done.
Oh, continue. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
okay.
Pick up where you
Yeah.
left off.
How we
Yeah, it's
doing
gonna
on
take
time?
Brian a little while to get all those
You good.
90 plus names in the wheel of names for the giveaway. So turn it back over to
Undesirable
you.
grasses. This is a category under crop. EGS test is an examination of test samples, minimum 25,000 seeds. 10 species deemed undesirable in 7 eastern states. So 7 states have decided these 10 species are undesirable: Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New Hampshire, and Delaware. The species that are undesirable, you don't want these species in other grasses. These species are bentgrass, Bermuda grass, annual bluegrass, rough bluegrass, trivialis, meadow fescue, tall fescue, orchard grass, red top, timothy, and velvet grass. So if you have those
Timothy.
grasses in a different species, like if you have orchard grass and tall fescue, timothy and tall fescue, those have to be listed in those states as undesirable grasses. They would be they're categorically a crop. But these states want them as undesirable grasses just because of the importance that those grasses are going to be very difficult to take out. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They're very difficult. So that's why they're called that, undesirable grasses.
Mhm.
A couple more slides.
What would be a common situation where that would be a concern? Like, is that something where, like, you don't want to see that? I mean, obviously nobody wants to have that in their grass seed, but like, who's concerned about that the most to where they have those in those states? Like, what was the incentive behind that?
So I think what they wanted to do was add a little more clarity for the consumer. So when a consumer sees weed, he or she's going to say, that's not good. I don't want a weed in my grass seed. When a consumer sees the word crop, well, crops are things we eat and crops are typically good. So that must be good that it's a crop. But that's not the case when it comes to a turf grass. So I don't know for sure, but I think they wanted more clarity around that category of crop. And that's why they came out, and that's why the name undesirable grass seeds. So that's what's typically in those crops. And by the way, if you're in your seed tag, if your seed has 5% or more crop, like if your perennial ryegrass has more than 5% annual ryegrass, or your tall fescue has more than 5% orchard grass, it has to come out of crop and be listed as a variety percentage on your tag. You know that?
Okay.
So if you've got more than 5% of these guys, they're going to be listed on your tag. That's how the rules are, and they should be, because that's a lot of crop seed and they want it to show up so consumers know what's going on.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. And it's, like you said, I mean, you can't really get rid of them unless you're just going to round up it.
they're really hard.
Yeah.
It's almost
Yeah.
impossible. So that's why these are a big deal. Weeds are less of a deal. They're less of a deal. Not always, but less, because you can deal with a broadleaf weed a lot easier. Couple tags. I went to Lowe's here in Salisbury. Can I say that?
Salisbury.
Salisbury. Salisbury. That's like
Steak.
that's like
The guy got on me a while ago for
Salisbury.
saying what I said salmon.
Yeah. What about salmon?
Yeah.
Salmon.
It's like, don't they have an L in it? I was like, I don't know, but we eat salmon.
That's like Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's not Lancaster, it's Lancaster. Okay. Went there. They were selling this. These are just examples. They had other seeds that did not show noxious weed seeds. This is a bare ground repair seed. Vert tall fescue, not NTEP rated. 1G squared perennial ryegrass. I did not look up the ryegrass. I don't think I've seen that on my NTEP charts. And it has marble annual ryegrass in there. Other crop seed, 1.9. It's getting pretty high. Coated materials, 50% coated. And it matters 1. Weed seed is 0.1, not 0.01. It's 0.1. Weed seed. Noxious weeds, 27 hairy chest per pound, 27 annual bluegrasses per pound, 18 curly dock per pound. So this would not be a high quality seed. This is something you would want to avoid. There's much better options. Here's another example. Just thought I would.
Now, real quick, Bruce, when you stopped by, did you note what the price of that was?
I took a few photographs. I was trying to act natural as best I can, and it's not really good. You know what I'm saying?
This is
It's
the
not
turf
good.
grass spy right here. This is the
Yeah,
seed
and I'm
spy.
taking photographs in Lowe's, and I was trying to act natural, but I did take a few pictures of price tags. I forgot how much this one was though.
Well, the thing I guess I'm trying to get at is, just in my estimation and recollection, you're not really you're paying a premium for premium seed, but it's not like you're paying double or triple.
Oh, that's
Seed is expensive, whether you're buying a Scott seed or one of the Pennington seeds or any of the stuff at Home Depot, Lowe's, any of these other big box stores. It's still expensive.
your
seed is
point
just
so
expensive.
well
That's
taken. Here's a 1 pound bag. You're only buying a half pound of seed. So you would just take the price and virtually double it, because you're only getting a half a pound. To make a comparison. Your point is so well taken. So that's one example.
And not that probably 90% of the people or 100% of the people in the chat are people who do buy premium seed. But
Oh, exactly.
for anybody watching back on the replay on YouTube or on the podcast, I mean, that's one of the factors to consider when we're looking at grass seed is that, it might look nice, or definitely ease of access to be able to just, the Home Depot for me is 1 mile away from my house.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's very easy to just go over there and grab a bag of grass seed, get it going. But the difference in the quality of the seed, the quality of the growth, the quickness of the growth, the quality of the germination is, you really can't stack them up.
Well, I like to your example, Brent. I always compare this to like sports, like let's say golf. Like, do you run to Walmart if you're a serious golfer and you want the best equipment? Do you run to Walmart and buy a set of clubs? No, you go to like a
Dick's.
golf store, right? Or you go to a specific store that's particular to that sport. Same thing with seed. It's a very similar thing. You should go to like a seed store that specializes in it. That's going to be able to put you in the right direction.
Yeah, and I was talking with my neighbor today. So I did that my side yard project, right? He and I talked. I said, listen, I'm going to level all this out. Kind of like got a swell there, collects rainwater. I'm going to level this out. I'm going to pull some of this dirt over across the property line, onto your property. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to seed it. Right. So I had leftover seed, which is, the same stuff that the majority of my lawn is. It's, the blend from Tuckahoe. It's like 75% tall fescue and 25% bluegrass mix. Put that down on his side of the property line. On my side of the property line, I just did the 365 SS. And then he had some other bare spots that he went out and seeded with, whatever he bought from Home Depot, right? He usually buys like the Scott's Sun and Shade mix. Not a huge lawn guy. His lawn looks pretty good, but he's not a big lawn guy. But I saw him today and he was like, oh my God, like that stuff just grew in so crazy. And I posted a picture of it earlier today. I mean, you can see that tall fescue, like the hard line that I did, it took off. It went crazy, super dark green, super tall, super thick, looks beautiful. He was like, oh, that looks amazing. And I was like, yeah, well, it all comes down, realistically, it all comes down to the seed. Like this was a, premium seed, and, it looks better because the stuff that he, planted like a week ago is just kind of barely starting to germinate, and it'll probably come in fine. It'll fit his needs and what he wants for his lawn. But, you can just see it even just side by side. So
It's a great point. Seed's kind of foundational, seed and soil foundational to a lawn. And can you add, fertilizer and nitrogen and micros, and can you add some wetting agents to improve the quality, the color density, uniformity, and, type of thing? Sure. But unless you get the right seed down with the right genetics, lawn's never going to reach its full potential. And you're kind of like chasing your tail, There's another tag I took a picture of. It's Scott's. Reason I did, it's most of the seed, the retail seed had these coatings on there, super absorbent coating. I don't know if they work. They may work, may not work. Some of the researchers at New Mexico are talking about some do and some don't. So I guess we need to find out which ones do and which ones don't. Again, you're only buying half the amount of seed because it's 50% coating. The one thing I wanted to point out here, the tall fescue blend, Dynamic 2, Endeavor 2, Green Keeper, WAF. None of those, I looked them up before this live chat. None of those are National Turfgrass Evaluation Program, NTEP rated. None of them are. So it's hard to know anything about what those varieties do, how they perform. Typically, companies, especially large companies, are looking for, and somebody mentioned the marketing, about, knowing your market, knowing your customer. They're looking for high yielding tall fescues. When they're higher yielding, they tend to be able to draw, your costs are relatively fixed. Your costs are fixed as a farmer growing an acre of seed. So the higher that they yield, you can, if you own the farms or the companies, like some of these companies do. Scott owns a couple seed companies out in Oregon. They're looking for high yielding so they can reduce the cost. So you have a fixed cost, more pounds per acre, less cost per pound type of thing. And maybe they know their customers really, really well. Scott's is the world's largest lawn and garden retailer. So, this is what they buy or what they're selling. All I'm saying is, from a research standpoint, we know nothing about brown patch, gray leaf spot. Would this work for North Carolina? Nobody knows. The package had a lot of really nice things to say about it, but it's hard to even tell. So, last thing, how's our time, Owen?
I think we're all right. Brian's still working on the wheel.
Okay. We treat our seed, by the way, a coating adds to the inert matter, the poundage of the bag. Treatments do not. So a treatment would typically be a spray. Apron treatment for damping off and Pythium is the classic. It is a seed treatment. It doesn't change the inert, doesn't change the pounds, doesn't change the purity. You're looking at 0.7 to 1 ounce, 3/4 of an ounce per 100 pounds. It wasn't much. It wasn't much at all.
It's like
Uh,
spraying
gra-
vitamins on your wheat thin or on your Wheaties or something.
What's that now?
It's like spraying vitamins on your Wheaties. So they get
Yeah,
your nutrients,
yeah.
it doesn't really add to it. It's just
Kind of
on
the
the
same
outside.
thing. Kind of the same thing. Gravity PGS, the rate's 4 ounces per 100 pounds. So we treat all of our seed with Gravity PGS. Why do we do that? It's got 3 plant growth regulators, 3 plant hormones, cytokinin, gibberellic acid, and indolbutyric acid, which is also known as IBA. So we have 3 of them. Cytokinin promotes cell division, leaf expansion, and this is key, while also slowing total leaf aging. Plants go through an aging process. Plant cells go through an aging process. As plants put out, or as grass plants put out new leaves, the old ones tend to, the word is senesce. They tend to die. They start producing ethylene gas. They age and they die. New ones replace them. Cytokinin slows this aging process down. Plants can actually go through a senescing process cell by cell before it's visible to the eye. So the cytokinin is kind of like the fountain of youth for turfgrass plants. It's a great plant hormone to use, and we put it on our seed. Gibberellic acid naturally occurs to stimulate cell division, overall stem and leaf elongation. So it has a lot to do with increasing cell division, which we need in young seedlings to get them established. IBA is all about root formation. And this is just one perspective. There's 2 basic different types of plant roots. One is a taproot, the other is a fibrous root. Tall fescue is a fibrous root system. If you pull a tall fescue plant up out of the ground and look at the roots that you typically see, those are more structural roots. What IBA does, and where basically the game of establishment is won or lost in the root hairs. It's not those big structural roots, it's the root hairs. That's where absorption is happening across cell walls. So IBA stimulates root formation, cell elongation, especially in those root hairs. And that's why these 3 are a great combination. We sell it in a liquid. Golf courses put it on any type of turf that is stressed, so greens and tees, goes on our seed. The research, and I don't think only I have published this on the website, some of the data from the University of Minnesota. It was done, Dr. Horgan at the University of Minnesota. And the key with Gravity PGS, if conditions are optimal, I mean, the temperature's perfect, the moisture's perfect, seeds germinate pretty good, It's when it's not optimal. It's when it's too hot, too cold, like late in the season or in the fall or early in the spring when soils are too cold or they're too dry. If there's stress where we need that cell division to happen, that is the sweet spot for Gravity PGS. Does help in good conditions, but it really shines when there's stress.
How long does this last? Like you sow the seed,
Yep.
it is on there, the treatment's on there.
Yep.
How long does it stick with that? Is it just through the germination process or is it?
So I think our label is going to say something like, after the second mowing, if you plant PGS seed after the second mowing, you'll want to come back in and do some retreatment if you still have stress as far as establishment goes. So we're probably looking at in the second mowing, 30 days.
That could be 30 to 50 days, depending on temperature.
Just depending on those things.
And it's not the blue coating. Like the whole time I thought it was the blue. It's not the blue, it's clear.
If you treat a seed, any seed, treat a corn seed like sweet corn to buy and plant, it typically is pink. As captan, used to be captan. If you treat a seed by law, you have to let the consumer know that there's something in there. So you have to color it. We chose blue. I don't know what the name is, but it's a mountain blue that we chose. So we use a blue coating. Others use a red. Seed Research is using red. Pennington actually have either a patent or a copyright on green. So we couldn't use green. But I think a color, maybe hot pink going. I don't know. I don't know. But you have to color it so people know there's a plant growth regulator there. Okay, that's all the slides. Were there any chat questions, or was there anything in chat that we need to cover?
So is that something that you would primarily use just during seeding? You'd said that golf courses would use it as well. Is that something where you could apply it throughout the season or different times to help with maybe drought tolerance in the summer?
Yeah.
I mean, what would be other purposes besides seeding?
You know, it comes into play, especially when there's stress. If there's stress happening, when does photosynthesis stop? It's in the mid, I think the low 90s, 93 to 95 degrees. Photosynthesis starts to slow down, and it varies by species, but it starts to slow down. If I had a lawn where there was high temperature stress, drought stress, or even cold temperature stress in the fall, that would be a good time to put down some gravity PGS. The maximum rate it's very low. The maximum rate is 0.3 ounces per 1,000 square feet. So the rate is very low. Golf courses like it because of all the stress they're under, especially foot traffic, and they need more root hairs coming from the roots to absorb more nutrients. Those would be the main areas.
Right. I don't have irrigation, so that's something to look into for next year, I think.
Yeah, I want to get more into, like, the grass grows like crazy, obviously in the springtime, and it's difficult to get that weeknight mow in just once weekly is typically what I do, but it's, you're taking so much off every time I mow because of that spring flush. I'm interested in things to maybe, regulate, slow that down, or something maybe to help maybe boost the roots as we get into summertime, and see if that helps maybe, withstand the dry heat we've had this year, next summer.
Well, guys, we're about an hour and a half into this. It's pretty awesome with a lot of information. I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to this a couple times, follow along and stuff like that. So, Bruce, thank you so much for coming in and dropping all this knowledge. Everybody got one college credit for listening tonight and continuing education and all that fun stuff. So, with that, the wheel is done. Looks like wasn't the full 90 something people. I think some people probably don't have fescue grass. Maybe they're not looking to mix it, but man, there was I think this is
it'd make a great Christmas present though.
One of the most I've seen. 64
all right
entries. That's a lot of people. So
I like the WinField look there.
Look at that. Look at that.
All right, so what I'm going to do is shuffle it the 3 times. 2, 3, we'll go full screen. So,
we get
so this is going to be for the 25-pound bag of Artemis and your choice of starter fertilizer, WinField, or the 1111 Pro Pete. Good luck. Make sure... I don't know if some people left or not, but let's maybe stick around, make sure the person's still in the chat. We can get a thumbs up from them or something, whoever the winner is. So, here we go. Good luck.
Oh man. Heck yeah.
Hey, Gary
I
Shepard.
think he really could use that if that's who I think it is.
That's really cool.
All
Heck
right,
yeah.
well, let's see if he's in
Right
the
on.
chat. Jerry, give us a thumbs up. Where you at?
That's a new name for
Watching
me.
the playback.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Awesome.
Yep. Just showed up in the live chat. So yeah, a lot of fescue freaks coming in,
Yeah.
watching and listening. That was awesome. Great stuff. Getting lots of congrats
There he
going.
is.
Yeah, he's there.
There he is. Yeah. He said
Right
he could
on.
use it. So congrats, Jerry.
Nice.
Well, you can reach out to Olee or something, and he'll give either through the Facebook group if you're in that, or Instagram. Get in contact with Olee, and he'll get information over to WinField to get that out to you.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
So again, yes, Bruce, thank you so much. We appreciate you taking some time out today to educate us and our live chat guests. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate the
Hopefully we
invite.
can
Thank
keep
you.
the relationship going, and we can have you back another time when things slow down a little bit for you, and have you back on and drop some more knowledge. That'd be awesome.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, we need to do like a periodic seminar with Bruce Jump, where you come on and
Yeah.
kind of do a dive on something about grassy. That would be so cool. You
Hey,
know?
man, if he does, I hope he comes back to North Carolina, because he fed me good this evening. Man. We had beers and hibachi, and I can do that about every 2 weeks. I like to eat.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. It's been fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was great.
Zach, you
thanks so
talked
much,
about doing
Bruce.
a guest drawing. Do you want to do that now, or do you want to do that another time?
We can
Getting
do
kinda
that
late.
next week. Yeah.
All right. So next week, you guys come back into the chat, and if you guys want to join us for one of these live chats as well, jump on, show us your face, talk about grass. We'd love to have you. We've had some great viewer guests in the past, and we look
Mhm.
forward to continuing that tradition along the way. So again, thank you, Bruce. Thank you to everybody in the live chat. We appreciate your support coming on tonight and listening, and go back and rewatch this, because there's some great information that was had tonight. So thank you, guys, and we will see you next week.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Peace. Thank you.